What's up, Cowboys Nation? Welcome back to Craving Cowboys. Thank you to everybody for joining me this evening or early evening, whatever time it is in your time zone. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate everybody giving me your time this Tuesday afternoon. I know it's kind of a random show. I'm actually, I had a good, decent day at work. Was able to get off at a good time, so I decided to go live. I couldn't go live on Sunday, because I was, coming back from the game, and then of course yesterday was kind of, a very long day at work. As you guys, if you guys been following me long enough, I work for the post office, and we get hit already, y'all. And I know these all these early Black Friday sales. I know everyone, is always tuned into deals and things like that, but it's been definitely, crazy, at work. So please forgive me for going late, kind of, or going live kind of late in the week, if you will, with it being a short week, playing us, Cowboys playing the Giants a couple of days from now. So I just want to give my quick thoughts on the game. It's not going to be a long live at all. I'm sure you guys have, heard a lot from the other Cowboys content creators and, news and things. And, they've already kind of moved on to the Giants as well. You see news about, Tommy DeVito possibly not playing, Thursday, saying he's not 100%, quote unquote. So I'm already surprised at that. It's like, we already have two backups playing, for Thanksgiving. And now it's like DeVito is not even going to be playing. So I think they're saying it's possibly Zach Wilson. I don't even know who their number three who number three backup quarterback is. So I'm very interested to see who's going to be playing on Thanksgiving. I'm looking, no offense to my Cowboys. I know we just got the dub, but looking a little bit more forward to some of the other games playing because just two backups kind of sucks. But actually now with this win, I'm excited to see how we play against the Giants. Albeit how however bad they're doing. Definitely excited to see how these guys come out with some fight, against another division rival. But before we go any further, make sure you guys please hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. If you haven't subscribed yet, I'm still trying to get my numbers up. I'm just over slightly over 500 subscribers. Still trying to get my numbers up before the end of this season. Although how the season is kind of a little bit jury coming in, but I'm good with it. But shout out to everybody in the building already. Nisi, my sis, always, from day one, always in the building first. J Money, what's good? What's up? Happy to see you in the building as well. And John Jones, and shout out to you as well. Just coming in as well. Thank you to everybody being here. Make sure you guys, like I said, hit the like button, hit the share button. Let everybody else, know I'm live. Share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook if you're listening in. On the Facebook group for me. Share it on other platforms as well. Just so I can, get some more people to kind of come in the building, so I can, kind of, deeper in the detail about, my thoughts on the game. And, as you guys know, I was at the game, being in the DMV area. I was very excited to go to this game. I'll just go ahead and kind of jump in. Actually, let me read you guys' comments first. Nisi says, "Hey, I'm glad they did the Commanders that way. I'm ecstatic. Nisi, like that was a crazy game. First of all, the last couple of games I have been to, they've definitely been eventful. The 49ers game I went to last year, Carolina as well. That was a pretty good game as well. But as we know, of course, the fourth quarter was definitely, had the most action in it. But the first three quarters, it was kind of like drab, right? It was like, I'm sure you guys watching too. We're kind of saying the same thing. It's kind of like, dang, like. I'm kind of glad, I'll say being a Cowboys fan, glad that the Commanders weren't looking like they were looking, early on in the season because they, their offense seemed like it had a lot of firepower. I mean, we know the players they have, McLaurin. I mean, he had a touchdown, a long touchdown run late in the game, but we know, the firepower he has. Zach Ertz, he had a touchdown as well. And we know about their run game, and they were definitely doing a lot of that. So we know that the potential that they have, to be kind of, to be fiery on offense. But it was just kind of odd to see, in the first, first of all, in the first half, I think the score going into halftime was I think a 3-all, I think 3-3. So to see, kind of a lack of offense, from both sides, and in my opinion, and just hearing some of the other fans kind of behind me, like, a lot of people saying like, what's going on? Like, both sides, saying like, wow, the offense really isn't, really isn't doing anything. Like, it was kind of surprising too. And like I said, their run game was definitely strong. Some of the fans were kind of, I know I was saying, at least for me, I was out there kind of saying like, man, that's kind of all they're doing, right? All they're doing. And I heard it today listening to the Players Lounge, how they were kind of using the read option a lot with Jane Daniels. And I'm like, that's cool and all because they were getting yards and stuff, but it's kind of like, dang, like it's kind of like all they're doing, right? It's kind of like, we saw some things from Brian Robinson Jr. and, unfortunately, I think it was on the very first play or one of the first plays that unfortunately, he went down twisting his ankle when Osa tackled him, and it was definitely good to see him get back up because he was down for a good amount of time, But even Eckler coming in, we always, Cowboys defense have always been kind of, at least seemingly successful against Austin Eckler, even when he was with the Chargers at the time we played him, I think a couple years ago. We were able to kind of, I'm not gonna say shut him down, but we were able to kind of contain him a little bit. He wasn't able to really eat like that against the Cowboys defense. So I feel like we were kind of able to do kind of some of the kind of the same thing against at least as far as Eckler at this in this game as well. I mean, prayers to him as well. I think it was on one of the very last plays of the game. Unfortunately that he went down with a very hard hit on special teams. So I'm really not sure why Washington was using him on special teams as it is. Even going into this game, I was kind of like, it's crazy because Washington has that running, in my opinion, has that running back duo, but at the same time, they don't kind of use them as a duo, right? I mean, in my opinion, I wouldn't compare, them to in Atlanta or even even I mean Detroit is kind of like the main example, right? But even teams like Atlanta who do use two running backs. I'm saying I'm trying to think of another team uses two running backs kind of like interchangeably. Like Washington has two very stout running backs, but you kind of see them use Robinson as kind of like a workhorse type, and then Eckler kind of comes Eckler, excuse me, Austin Eckler kind of comes in to kind of relieve him a little bit. Or like when Robinson went down for a couple of games, Eckler was kind of made the workhorse. At the, I'm saying, and even Nichols, I think a running back 3 on their roster. They don't barely even really use him. I think he only got a couple attempts in this past game. So I'm unsure why they don't really use them as kind of like a a 2 running back attack. Because I'm sure it could definitely be effective. Especially against teams like us. Because like I said, they were using Daniels on the read option a lot. So it's just they were definitely successful with the run game. I think they said that they had 145 yards rushing. I still have to go back and watch the broadcast version, honestly. Because I hadn't had a chance to be able to sit down and rewatch it, honestly. And I do want to do that before we do play on Thursday. And shout out to John Jones. Yeah, happy Thanksgiving to you as well, and happy Thanksgiving to everybody listening in, everybody in the chat. Happy holiday to everyone, like I said, everyone listening in, everyone who still has to work, people like that, people like, who are like me out there who still have to work this Thanksgiving week, or even those who are off, or those who work from home, kind of able to take it easy, kind of spend it, able to spend, more time with their family if they are in town. Happy Thanksgiving, happy holiday to everyone. Because this is, I'm definitely starting to appreciate the holidays a little bit more, getting older and appreciating that time at home, being able to spend time, with family members. So I'm definitely, especially after the kind of year I've kind of had, I'm definitely trying to just be more appreciative of family and friends, and just kind of being a little bit more in the moment. You know what I mean? So, like I said, happy holiday to everybody listening in. And Nisi said the Giants are tanking without saying they're tanking. Yeah, Nisi, when I seen them make Daniel Jones running back, not running back, I'm sorry. When I seen them make Daniel Jones quarterback 4, I'm like, what's going on? Like, y'all really, no one, not saying no wonder he asked for a release, but it's like, what's going on? Like, y'all really don't believe him in that way? That was probably like one of your. I mean, he was the one getting the ball to Malik Neighbors. He can still run the ball himself. He's shifty when he can be, but it's just like, I don't know if it's like something like the Giants don't know what they're doing, or if it's like just a whole conundrum of everything, because they have players over there. They have a one of the most well known and most well respected defenses in the league. So it's kind of just like, it's almost kind of like, why can't they get it right? You know what I mean? It's almost baffling. What I'm saying? They lose Saquon, now they've lost Daniel Jones. He's a free agent, and it's just like, what do you have to show for it? Like, all the time that you put into both these players and other players too. What I'm saying? You've lost Leonard Williams to Seattle Seahawks. I'm saying you've had these pieces on your team for years, and it's just like what have they been able to do with them? And now they're in other organizations, or seeking to go to other organizations to really to see if they can uptick, kind of bring an uptick to their career. But it's like, what did the Giants have to show for it? Now they're essentially, like Nisi said, they have to tank now and look for another a top, maybe possibly a top 10 pick, to kind of go alongside Malik Neighbors. Now they have to look for another quarterback for the future. And it's just like, wow, like, y'all really put yourself into a whole nother situation. Like, it's one thing to lose a major piece like Saquon and to see him go off, with a division rival, but at the same time, now you gotta look for a quarterback, and it's just like, wow, they just, I don't know. And it could just be, that maybe Daniel Jones wasn't meant for their organization, if you will. But it's just like, what are y'all gonna do now? Like, it takes a long time. I mean, you see the Cowboys struggling, to quote unquote do a soft rebuild that Jerry kind of admitted to, and it's just like, we have our QB1, we have our wide receiver one, and we're looking for other pieces, but it's like, we're kind of struggling. So, what can you really expect to see from the Giants, and what can they do to kind of turn things around and kind of bring some kind of momentum to their organization? You know what I mean? So it's just like it's like wow, it's like what did they really have to show for it now? You know what I mean? So it's just like it's crazy. But yeah, let me like I said, let me get my quick thoughts on this game. Love the fight that this team came out with that you guys see on the thumbnail. Once again, second week in a row where we see, Convante Turpin having a touchdown, an impactful play in the game. And really was really been, something I've been, wanting for this entire year. Our tight end room finally, having a good second week in a row as well. We've seen Schoonmaker have his touchdown. Has some big catches in the game. The day before yesterday. And Redmond Spanford as well, getting some plays in there as well. Definitely happy to see him coming along. I love to see that, I know we're, in kind of evaluation mode as far as the Cowboys go, but love that they're getting some play out of, the big tight end because, they carried four tight ends for a reason, right? I mean, we unfortunately we couldn't see John Stevens, but definitely excited to see that they're at least getting Brevin Spanford involved. Although I know that Jake Ferguson has been out the past couple of games, and unfortunately, it looks like he's not going to be in for this game for the Giants. I mean, I don't know. He had to practice this week, and I think it was Stephen Jones who kind of confirmed that it was Jake Ferguson wasn't going to go for the Giants. I understand it's a short week, kind of give him some more time to come back, but I'm wondering how bad at this point for me. I'm kind of wondering how bad the concussion actually was because it's like it's kind of early on. I think it was. Was it a Texas game or was it Atlanta? I can't remember what game it was actually that he actually that the concussion actually occurred. But I'm like, man, like this is like the second game he's missing. Now he's possibly going to miss a third. It's like, man, like how bad was this concussion? Because he missed that half of the game too. And usually, concussion protocol is, I believe, one full game. But it's I'm just starting to get worried. You know what I'm saying? And not just because he could lose his spot or anything like that, but I was worried, for the player himself, because just like, man, he's a huge part of this team, huge part of the heart of this team, and heart of that locker room. I just really, really missing his toughness on the field. As you guys know, I love my tight end. So, I love seeing the other guys, just like we're talking about when CD was kind of gone, for those months of training camp. Now, and finally, Mike McCarthy is kind of getting them involved. I mean, that was going to actually be on one of my shows. I was supposed to do a couple weeks ago, but I just never really got around to the subject is the lack of use of Jake Ferguson. And, I talked about it a little bit, tight end, I think it was tight end week or tight end, the tight end weekend. And, Jake Ferguson has yet to have a touchdown, for the season. And it didn't even occur to me that the entire tight end room, I believe, hasn't had I think maybe Schoonmaker may have a touchdown, but I don't think that any tight ends on our team or on our roster have a touchdown. So for Schoonmaker to even he said in his post game interview, like he said somebody has to get a touchdown, right? So it's like to be able to see some life kind of come to that room, and even Schoonmaker also mentioned in his interview that even the the competition being in the room just kind of helps these guys get better themselves, but at the same time they're kind of cheering for the other guys in the room too, because you just at this point, it's late in the season during evaluation. You want to see the production. You want to see what these guys can actually bring to the game, and we're seeing the physicality. We're seeing the toughness from Brevin Spanford. We're seeing, and that's another thing for Schoonmaker. We're seeing his confidence grow as well. I mean, something me and Star talked about, for weeks on our show, and something that I've kind of talked about, I think with my show before the season started, talking about our tight end room in general, just kind of getting Schoonmaker kind of up to that level of tight end too, finding Jake Ferguson, another a tight end that can come in and kind of spell him, right? But when he does need, so he's not being, and that's kind of what I was afraid of, right? I kind of talked about this earlier in the season, that using Jake so much at the line, and I know he didn't get, I mean, at least I don't think he got his concussion at the line, but just him taking so many hits at that line, going against so many defensive edges, just taking, kind of being a little bit more beat up this year, I think, in my opinion, I think it's kind of showing, what I'm saying? His production is down, his numbers is down. but he's had a couple injuries this year, or he had one injury and then now he's had a concussion. So I just think that he's really taking a lot of he's really taking I don't want to say taking a beating, I don't want to say that, but just he's really taking on a lot, trying to help out the offensive line. And hopefully coming back, we can kind of get our offensive line rules back in order. I mean, with Guyton and his penalty issues, now that Awesome Richards is now battling a high ankle sprain, and that's insane. Like, we just can't seem to catch a break with the offensive line. But it's just like, with so much going on, hopefully we can kind of get, maybe possibly Zach Martin coming back. I want him to just do what's best for him health wise. You know what I'm saying? Is if he feels like he can come back, then yeah, come back. If he feels like he wants to retire, then, or set the rest of the season, then do that. I'm not making a decision for him. I just want him to do what's best for him. But as far as guys coming back, Tyler Smith, they should expect him to be able to come back. I don't know about the Giants. I haven't looked at the injury report, but hopefully he can come back too. We're definitely missing our stars on the O line, but hopefully we can just kind of get some chemistry back, just some continuity back as well with some guys coming back. So hopefully we can keep Jake off that line and just kind of prevent him from taking so many hits. You know what I mean? Oh, it was good. What's your point in the building as well? What's up, fam? Happy to see you. Yeah, Nisi says Turpin. Yeah, Turpin broke ankles and speared on that return. Man, that's facts, man. Look, and I was actually in, well, not in that end zone, but I was actually on that side where Turpin took that took the return. I didn't have my phone out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was almost like, I ain't gonna say I was recording the whole first half, but the whole, like, almost the first half I was trying to get clips from my show, clips to be able to show you guys, and I was able to get Turpin's touchdown on film. But really, honestly, after that, I stopped filming. I kind of want to be like, in the moment, kind of enjoyed the game, and especially during that whole, like, 3-minute fiasco of, us kind of trading points with Washington. And I really wish I had what happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was kind of in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Didn't really get anything on film. But yeah, that return, DC, was insane. Because I saw when Turpin kind of hit the spin, but it was like, man, like, I saw a guy that was like near him, so I thought he maybe would get tapped, would get hit, kind of go down. So I didn't expect. So when I started hearing the crowd go crazy, I'm like, man, like, he's gone. And then, of course, coming back down from the other side, I see McLaurin, kind of scored the 87 yard touchdown, and it's like, okay, wow, like, it is just such a thing that happened in the game, especially in our division game, for us to be first of all, to be trading points at the end of the game, but second of all, for Washington to be able to score just like that in a matter of seconds. Of course, they're going to get another quote unquote Hail Mary type of opportunity against us. That was crazy. That was it for McLaurin, or one to get the catch. For him to be almost wide open, if you will, and then for to be what I think 3 or 4 players around him, and then none of them able to make the tackle, and he runs it all the way back. That was crazy. But I ain't gonna lie, that was a hellacious play. Like, I love saying that. I wish the whole game had been like that. Honestly, I wish the game had been kind of a back and forth affair, or just for, I guess, for fans' sake. But even that finish, that was worth it. Like, that the atmosphere itself in the stadium was just amazing. Like, it's always good, at least for me, to kind of being around other fans. That's why I said I think from now on I'm just gonna rock with the away games. You know what I'm saying? As far as traveling, I don't know if I'll do another home game, just because I love being around other fans. The high five, like the hypeness of the crowd, things like that. And like, home games are just kind of stale. Everyone's just kind of chilling, sitting back. Some people on their phone. I was on my phone, for a little bit, but just because it was just kind of so chill. But at the away games, like, you hardly even really have time to sit down, unless it's like a TV timeout or something like that. So it's just like, man, like, I love away games, and I love that the atmosphere. Like I said, the fans was off the chain. Even this, like, the smaller amount of fans I was in, our Cowboys fans that was in our section, was trying to get the crowd going, saying, "Let's go defense, let's go defense." And it's crazy because on one of them chants where we started saying, "Let's go defense," that's when Downo made that play and was able to cause the fumble. That's when Kendricks was able to hop on the was able to recover the fumble. So that's just how impactful fans can be at games. That's what we try to, as I guess I'll say us as content creators, try to tell fans who are going to the home games that crowd noise is, I mean, the Seahawks have a whole 12th man. You know what I'm saying? Like, that crowd noise really means something. So even just what we were doing, in our section, what we feel like kind of changes the aspect of the game. I'm saying that really means a lot, and could really mean a lot, to these players. You know what I'm saying? Hey, shout out to E Money Bentley. What's up? I don't think I've ever seen you before. What's up, fam? Happy to see you. If you haven't, make sure you hit share. Make sure you subscribe too if you haven't subscribed just yet. Make sure you hit the like button too. You know, I usually don't really say that a lot, but trying to get my numbers up. Really just and really just hit the like button so other people know I'm live and other people can kind of join in on the conversation as well. But yeah, and Nishi, like Nishi said, that was the first game that Terry was able to get over 100 yards on us. And actually, yeah, and like I said, I mean, and everyone know, it's common sense that everyone knows that he got 86 of those, on that final play, right? So it's just like we were able to contain him. Actually, thank you, Nisi, for bringing that up because as we know, Diggs, couldn't travel with the team for this game, so we know Butler had to step up. Shout out to him, had a great game. Deron Bland came back, and a lot of people are kind of saying, why come back? Even for guys like Bland and Parsons, and Nealon is young, he should come back and get these snaps, right? But should our that's really what I was talking about earlier with Zach Martin. Should he come back? For the rest of the season? It's like you come back from moments like these. You come back, to kind of help what you feel like you can help your team do, and just how much success you can possibly have by bringing back. Especially for our defense who's still trying to learn this scheme. If they decide to bring, which I think they will. I mean, you guys saw a hot take at the beginning before the season even started, saying that they should bring both Zimmer and McCarthy back. Right now, McCarthy, I'm kind of on the fence about right now. I love McCarthy, but it's just this season his play calling is just for me. It's just kind of gotten really stale, and I don't know unless he just does a complete overhaul in the off season. Like I don't know what can even really change that because we saw in this past game it was amazing, but what are we going to see next week? What are we going to see? If the heavens decide to open up, if we just even be able to sit playoffs this year, right? So it's just like it's just been so much inconsistency, at least for me. I'm just unsure if I really, really, really want McCarthy back. But at the same time, it's like if they're going to bring somebody else in here who's just going to follow, what's being told to them, then why not have somebody that you're familiar with? So I don't know. Like I said, I'm still on the fence of, if I want McCarthy to come back or not. But Zimmer, definitely think they should. Like I said, in the beginning of the season, I've been thought that they should bring him back regardless because you saw the change of pace and just how quick the defense picked it up in training camp. So I think with all of your starting guys, we know that our DNs have been down since the start of the camp. We've lost, Kendricks missed a game, right? Jay Lou missed a game. So we've had guys down, for a good part of the season. And now we're starting to get some of those guys back, and we just kind of see the spark that they're kind of bringing Neal in. Like I said, I got to go back and watch the actual broadcast version and just see how well these guys, just see how well before I speak personally on it, because I do hear what other people say and just how well these players play, but I'd rather see for myself before I fully speak on I don't want to speak on what someone else I've seen. You know what I'm saying? So like just from what I've seen, and because I didn't even know listening to McCarthy's presser, I didn't even know that Keemon Hall played. Like, and I've been like. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I've been saying that Keemon Hall should have started. I thought he should have started ahead of Butler, honestly. And with no disrespect, and shout out to Butler, he had a great game, especially coming back from last week. But I thought that Keemon Hall had a great camp. He had a great, he had a good preseason game. I think in preseason week 3, and I think he showed awareness, as far as in coverage, and then being able to attack the ball and really just being where the ball is. So I was definitely kind of advocating for Keemon Hall. So I definitely got to go watch, just for the sake of that. Even if I don't get to the game till this weekend, I'm just really trying to figure out when I'll be able to have the chance to watch it. But like, yeah, I really think I'm glad that he got a chance to play, not just on special teams. Like I said, and Butler able to step up in a huge way. You know what I mean? I'm trying to think of some of the guys who stepped up. Golston, he's continuing to step up week to week. I mean, an interception. What I'm saying? After going to the locker room for a little bit for dehydration, which, I happened to see on Twitter while I was there, while I was scrolling, and I'm like, man, like, hope he's straight, hope everything's good. And next thing you know, you see him get an interception, and it's just like, wow, man, like these guys are really fighting. Like, it's great to see that this team hasn't given up. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, I love that it's just I'm glad that they're not, this is no slight, but I'm glad that they're not mirroring some of these, like, things I see on Twitter. Some of these, some of you saying we should be tanking or that we should be losing, and oh man, we didn't lose, things like that. And I understand, but like I said, and I've been saying that I think that, I want to stay in the moment. I still want to continue to cheer my team on, and I really want the Cowboys to be, like I said, continue to show fight and show that they, want to improve. Like I said, weeks ago, that I think even if we do have a losing season, I still want these young guys to be able to take these reps and to be able to learn like these. Like I said, this kind of like free reps, like free game, right? Like guys who like we talked about guys on the practice squad, guys like Josh Butler, guys like who wouldn't normally really get a start. Like if we had actual starters, like I'll say I'm not gonna say Ghostin because he's been here for years, but say maybe like a Nealon, like maybe he may not have started as much as he would have now if Sam Williams hadn't gone down or D Law and Micah Parsons had gone down for that time. Some of these guys may not have gotten this many reps in game, so. And the same thing on offensive line. We've had injuries and problems with that for a couple of years now, but for years. But for I say for a couple of years under McCarthy, not really having your top five, your top five starters, being able to build that chemistry over a good amount of time. So it's like McCarthy, always alludes to and always says that for these guys to be able to get these game time reps is very important. To be able to get acclimated to the game speed, but also to kind of learn. So then, like I said, weeks ago, like so when they do have to kind of take that step back, like when we do have guys coming back, like Cooks is coming back. Like they haven't said when, but when Brandon Cooks does come back, I'm sure some receivers may not see as much, time on the field. You know what I'm saying? So that way, maybe possibly Brooks or a Mingo, he may not see the field, as much, but they were able to kind of get those in-game snaps, within their system as far as for Mingo to be able to kind of build some kind of at least build some kind of familiarity, so that way they don't have such a as much of a hard as much of a hard transition in the off season when they do come into next season. Let me see. Nishi says we didn't miss Diggs at all. These young DBs are hungry. I ain't gonna say Diggs. I always miss Diggs. I love Diggs on the other side of Bland. I'm always gonna miss seeing Diggs and Bland on the field at the same time. I ain't gonna lie on that. You know what I'm saying? Those are our top two corners. You know what I mean? And I think they really feed well off each other. And I'm saying that. And like I said, and I think Butler played very well, but there were plays made on Butler. Like although he was there to make the tackle, and he did have 10. I think 10 solo tackles, 12 total tackles. You know what I mean? But I'm not gonna say some plays were made on him. You know what I'm saying? So as far as they weren't attacking Bland's side, they were attacking Butler more. And although he did play sound, some plays were made on him. You know what I mean? So, but if you do have a Diggs and a Bland on opposite sides, then the quarterback really has a problem as to wondering who to throw to. Then maybe they're forced to throw in the middle where you have those linebackers ready to eat and come up and tackle, right? Or maybe you do have you have more time for Micah to come, we saw that, right? We saw Micah able to kind of bring more pressure to Daniels, and Golston as well. I think he got a sack. I think Jay Lou either got a tackle for loss or a sack or something like that. Like a lot of the guys were able to step up and eat. Like Kendricks, he had some damn good tackles. Donald Wilson, doing what he does best at the line. You know what I'm saying? Some of those blitz packages. Like, that's what we love to see, right? It's all about putting that pressure, like Zimmer always says, putting that pressure on the quarterback, making him bring that ball down, so that way your pass rushers can really, get those tackle for losses, get those sacks, so that way, and that's the point of having those good DBs out there, that good coverage out there, So and so you're right, Nisi. It's very important that Butler was able to kind of come in and really just kind of hold the fort down while Diggs is out. You know what I'm saying? Because whatever it is, we definitely want Diggs to get better, right? I'm not sure what's going on because it's we're not hearing a full story. You know what I'm saying? Jerry says he has a tear, but I haven't heard anyone else besides Jerry say that, so I'm not sure because he played in the game after that. But then we haven't seen Diggs. At least I don't think we haven't seen Diggs since then. So I'm wondering. Hopefully he's straight, because I think a couple of weeks ago they said he had like an illness. So I'm not sure if it's injury or an illness. So hopefully hopefully he's okay. Hopefully I don't know if he'll come back for this Giants game. Anyone who's just who really can't do it, like we're seeing, have these young guys step up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because they're willing to step up. They have the energy. They have the willingness to be able to do the job now that you see that. And I'm not gonna say it's unfortunate, but it kind of said like, at least for me, what does it say about guys like I know Amani Oruwariye was an IR, but he didn't do a great job. I think it's Booth. I forget his first name, but Booth. He didn't, really do a great job as far as in coverage. You know what I mean? And even our fifth round pick, Kalen Carson, saying hasn't, he gets picked on when he's out there. You know what I mean? So I'm glad that these other, the other DBs are getting a chance. Keemon Hall was able to come in the game. like I said earlier, Josh Butler doing this thing. So I'm glad that these guys are able to get these reps, so that way we kind of can whittle down some of these guys who are in these rooms, at least for next season, so we can kind of trim the fat and kind of get ahead maybe some of the roster. Let me see, TWY man. I'm not sure how to say that, but yeah, thanks for joining me, fam. Appreciate you. Thanks for joining the stream, man. Really appreciate it. Nisha said, "How many tackles do you think Diggs would have had?" I don't know, Nisha. Like, as far as total tackles, I don't know. I don't think. I'm gonna be honest. I don't think he would have had 10 or 12. But me personally, I'm not gonna be too. I have seen some people saying that Diggs having his worst season, or Diggs isn't doing that well, isn't playing well. But I'm gonna give him at least for me, I'm gonna give him that kind of, and I'm gonna give him kind of that year's grace, because we know that Pollard didn't have the greatest year. When he first came back from his injury, we know Terrence Steele was kind of struggling too when he was kind of coming back from his injury, and I don't know if people are forgetting, but like this is Diggs' first year. And I don't know if he came back early or not, but we were kind of wondering if he was even going to be ready for week one, right? So I think it's great for him to be out there and playing, but I think we still have to remember that it's his first year off an injury, and like I said, I'm not gonna indict him off, half of a season, being not even a year removed from the injury that he got week three of last season. So I'm going to give him a little bit more grace. I mean, we have seen the effort. I mean, we've seen him setting edge. We see him setting edges out there. We've seen him making tackles. Like I said, he may not have that has at that many tackles, but I think he still has that reputation, right? Even, I mean, let me bring up, because I heard this earlier on the Players Lounge when I was listening to them, because even Bland hasn't played. This is Bland's first game back, right? But he still has that reputation, right? Like Daniels knew, being a rookie, I'm saying, now having played in this league before, like to their point, this is the point that was, I don't know how to, I would have brought the clip up, I would let them say it, but this is what was brought up on the Players Lounge, like to their point, Bland clearly still has that reputation, but Daniels was, told that, by Quinn, by the coaches on Washington's coaching staff, that, be careful throwing the Bland side, because we seen last season he has the record. He's a ball hawk. He can do this. He can do that. You know what I'm saying? But he hasn't played this whole season. You know what I'm saying? So are we going to say that are we going to say this whole season that we didn't miss Bland? You know what I'm saying? I mean, we obviously missed Bland because we know that having that second side, what I'm saying, was crucial, because we only had Diggs on the one side. So I just think it's kind of, I'm going to say, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I think it's kind of unfair to say that we didn't miss Diggs. Our top corner, because I think if Bland has a reputation of not being thrown to on his side, what reputation, does Diggs have, right? I mean, I think the reason that they were attacking, rookie, the rookie Kalen Carson, or attacking Amani, or attacking Andrew Booth, is because Diggs was on the other side. So they're not going to attack Diggs. And then even Diggs, he just had the interception, last game or a couple games ago. So, I'm definitely not going to say that, that we didn't miss Diggs, because Diggs is still a playmaker. He's still a difference maker, whether he's making tackles, or, maybe the first couple of weeks of the season, maybe he missed a couple tackles, or maybe he was still in his head about the injury. Maybe he was still, questioning, his body. I mean, these are human elements, just of these players, because they sacrifice their bodies on a weekly basis. So it's completely different when you're not 100% healthy, right? So we just have to remember some of these things. And like I said in my earlier point, even Bland only had a total of 6 tackles. He had only a total of 3 solo tackles. But I'm not going to say that Butler, I'm saying, is a better player than Bland. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say that, because Bland only had 6 tackles. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say that wouldn't have made a difference on the game, because I think that Diggs' presence alone, at least in my opinion, kind of makes that difference on the field, because quarterbacks know not to try him. I mean, even Jalen Hurts, what I'm saying, they even in themselves, they kind of got together and kind of laughed it off, like, not to try me. And then even after that, he stopped going to Diggs' side, because I mean, he just know the reputation of Diggs, just the ability of Diggs. And I think that could have been a sign of him finally kind of getting back to his game. Sometimes guys just need that spark, right? Sometimes they just need, even Pollard. Like we saw him kind of, like I said earlier, he kind of came back slow, but even I think it was like the Rams game or something like that. I forget which game that kind of brought his spark back. But late in the season, he was saying that, hey, I'm kind of getting how I'm feeling back. I'm kind of getting that juice back, and he started having better games as time went on. But the end of the season came and we really couldn't see. And now over in Tennessee, so he's kicking tail. You know what I'm saying? Even just this past weekend, he had I think either had almost a 100 yard game or had a 100 yard game. Like he's really turning up over there in Tennessee. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes these guys just need extra time to kind of come back from these. I mean, from these major injuries. You know what I'm saying? Because we know he missed a great part of the season. You know what I mean? Let me see. TWY mentioned I still thought he would have tried DB. I kind of wish he did. Yeah, me too. I mean, and that's kind of why even when I was at the game, I'm kind of just like, I was kind of like what's going on? Like he's not. It doesn't seem like Daniels is really throwing the ball like that, right? He was taking chances, when if need be, you know what I mean. But we didn't really see that a lot. I mean, we saw a lot of the run game, a lot of the read option, and it's just like I think like I said, probably through, I mean, like the players' lounge said, like probably through the coaches and things like that. But we saw when they were throwing the ball, they were trying to get Butler, but little did they know, and that we saw that Butler was, a sound tackler, a guy who's always around, who can be around the ball. And that's also another thing that was interesting. Butler's story, if you guys have a chance, really go back and watch his post game interview. Like, please, guys, because me, like I've always stood on the table for guys like Turpin, and if you guys, have been following me long enough, and Turpin, we haven't even gotten to Turpin, but we already know about the return, but just kind of mirroring, kind of mirroring Turpin's story. Josh Butler kind of played in a lot of leagues, played in the U. And even Turpin mentioned it in one of his interviews that he played against Josh Butler when they were in the USFL. Butler has, tried playing in New Mexico, things like that. He said he traveled from, I think he said California to Michigan to play for the Michigan Panthers. Packed up his, his two dogs and made the trip. And the rest is history. Like they said he has a little bit of acting in his history. Make sure you guys please, look up this guy's story, because just like Turpin, like Josh Butler had, kind of like shout out to Law Nation, because he always says, it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared for one, right? And he always said that. Even Butler explained that I have my film ready, I have my tape, whenever when they said that, he said that they called him at 6 in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning Cali time, saying, hey, because they were about to start practice, what time can you be here, da, da, da. He said he sent the film, and then they called him and asked him to come out, and from there, like, the rest is history, right? So it's always about being prepared. And even Turpin said he had kind of bounced around. He played overseas in Poland. So I think he said he was on his mom's couch and just waiting for another chance. And USFL called, overseas called, and he went and played for them. And that's how he was able to kind of get some experience and leadership with leading those guys and how to play playing football similar to, I guess, American football, how they wanted to learn over there. And the next thing you know, he's playing in USFL. Does his thing. MVP as a wide receiver, and now he's here with the Cowboys. And he's actually, we talk about relationships with Mike McCarthy. Talking about Dak, and none of the players really. Me and Starks kind of brought that up on our show last week. But kind of another relationship I've seen kind of throughout the weeks is Turpin. Turpin and Mike McCarthy relationship is really solid. I think on the last Sounds of the Sidelines, or I think it was week 1, when Turpin had the punt return for the touchdown, Mike McCarthy was one of the guys that he hugged, going back to the sideline. And, even McCarthy talks about, like, how close they are. We talked about it today, how Turpin, has a great sense of humor. He's a great guy. He loves spending time with them. So I think that's another huge part of Turpin's success here, is that he's had a coach like Mike McCarthy, who has believed in him, who was able to kind of give him a chance. Because we saw that when Turpin first got here, granted he got here right from USFL, didn't really have a break in between, that and training camp, but he was, so that way he wasn't really truly overwhelmed. He didn't really have that much of a spot, but we saw that Kellen Moore didn't really use him like that. He wasn't really being used in packages on the offense. He was, really only saw him on kickoffs and punt returns, right? But even then, he was kind of shaky. Even Turpin admitted himself that his confidence was kind of down, right? But it's just like, once you have a coach who believes in you, who gives you the opportunities, that can really just elevate your career and elevate your confidence as well. And we're seeing that with 2-3 years later. And you mean to tell me we're just now scratching the surface, on Turpin? Like, it's crazy. Like, for him to say, like, yeah, that's just something I pull out when I'm in trouble, or yeah, I just wanted to pull out something no one has ever seen before. Like, this guy has been here for a few years, and for us, for him to show us his abilities, that that he has show us the abilities that he has, and we really barely used him on offense like that. Like, and he had a touchdown last week as well. So like he's really just one of those guys. We talk about playmakers on our team. I think it's time to start acknowledging Turpin as a playmaker because granted in the beginning of the season he was dropping passes, was he had a fumble I think earlier this season that Cooper Beebe recovered, but he's just one of those guys who if you give him the opportunity and he's able to get his confidence up, he can be consistent and he can, remain just one of those guys that you can go to, and even not even just being a security blanket or just a guy that you can dump off to, but someone who can make those deep shots, someone that you can go, on a seam route or a 9 route or just throw it up, see what he can do, or hell on a kickoff or a punt return. Like I think he's the only guy. Let me see, I have it up here on Twitter. Is the one of only 5 players in the league who has a kick return and a punt return. Like I think it's just this guy has amazing ability, and like I said, just for us to have barely scratched the surface on this dude is it's really a travesty. I hope that because this is they mentioned this is the contract year for him, so I really hope that they decide to really to really number one re-sign him, but also to really you know take heed of his talents and really decide to really use him next year. A shout out to Cali Cowboy. What's up? He said, I think it's also been a mentally tough season for these players. Yeah, they're out there trying, just things haven't been clicking. So this is a good confidence building game. Yeah, absolutely, fam. I definitely agree with you on that. Like that is 100%. And shout out to Aisha Morrison. She tweeted this last night, and she's absolutely right. Like some fans may even be like, hey, this win doesn't mean anything. We still have a losing record and things like that. But you got to think about there's players in the locker room, like, they really, we see they're clearly not fighting. They're clearly not giving up. They're still fighting. We saw, CD's, him being excited, Micah Parsons hyping up Turpin after the kickoff return. We see these guys don't want to lose. I mean, after a losing streak, I mean, even the guys, in their interviews are saying, like, who wants to lose? Like, no one wants to be on a losing streak. It's amazing. Like, everyone's saying that they're relieved and happy that they got a win. McCarthy's saying the mood is 100% better, so that could really be, really be a turnaround. I'm not saying it's going to be a huge turnaround for the season where they, win out or anything like that. But I'm just saying that these guys are not just, this isn't just a job for these guys. Are some of these guys are passionate about this game, and when you do kind of hit those walls, even in life, when you hit those walls, like you gotta find something to help you kind of get back up, right? So sometimes these wins do help build confidence, and not just the young players, but the veterans as well. We saw Jay Lou turn up, Kendricks, made some plays in this game as well. That's what we want to see, right? And CD as well, just continuing to fight to get those yards, kind of catching those contested balls. That was amazing. Like, not only is CD kind of showing leadership, not just in the locker room, but at least for me, but I feel like he's showing leadership on the field by continuing to fight. And although I think a lot of players are kind of a lot of people are kind of expecting these players to kind of give up, expecting them to be down on themselves, to be negative and things like that. And I love that Micah has kind of come out and said, no, I'm not tanking, I'm not playing, to tank or anything like that. I'm trying to, I think he said, I think we're a good team. I think we can turn around. This is what I was talking about, where we're a good team and we can, put things together and, see what kind of season we can have. You know what I mean? I just love that. I think that Micah and CD are really showing, that leadership, not just, through words, but through the actions as well. We're seeing Micah still trying to get his sacks, get his numbers right. Even CD said, they talked about being consistently, CD being consistently 1,000-yard receiver, right? We're talking about Micah Parsons says he wanted consistently be a 10-sack, defensive edge. So it's just like, or whatever position he decides to sign as, but for them to still have goals, like I said a couple videos ago, if they wanna, these young players can not only take advantage of these reps, but also have what goals do they have for the team, what goals do they have for themselves. I'm saying, it's not just about, how they play or your record at the end of the season, but what kind of pride you have for your team. Like, what, are you still, playing prideful, or are you just going out there and doing, your quote unquote job every Sunday, and saying that you're required to do because you get paid, right? That's kind of, I just love that these players aren't, giving up on the season just like that, just because their record doesn't look like, what they want. Nisha says Dak Attack did a video on Butler. Hey, shout out to Lamont Graham. What's up on the Facebook Graham? On the Facebook group. Excuse me. What's up, fam? This is the first time I've seen you. Yeah, if you can, come over to the YouTube side, hit the like button, hit the share button. If you're still on the Facebook side, make sure you hit the like and share button as well over there. If you can, if you want, send me some stars on that side as well. That really helps out a lot as well. Yeah, I didn't mention earlier. Make sure you guys, hit the cash up as well. It's right here, in the corner. You guys can see it. Dollar sign MPCOX90. And actually, I got a shout out. Let me see, because when I did my show last week with Star, before we exited out, there was a donation made to my Cash App, and I want to make sure that I want to make sure I shout out everybody that donates, because number one, you don't have to, and I think I just I definitely want to be make sure that I acknowledge everyone that does donate. Let me see if I can. Let me bring this up just 1 second, guys. Just be patient 1 second. Yeah, Shout out to Vince Goffney. He's the one who donated 10 the last time that me and Star was on here. So really appreciate that. But that was So and let me know. I appreciate you guys being in the chat. Let me know what players that stood out to you guys. Like what who were you mostly impressed by? You know what I'm saying, coming out and really showing some fight in this game, because I really like that. And these guys didn't seem to really give up. Like that McCarthy was calling a good game. I think that he's showing that he's still behind. Now I love that he stayed consistent with running the ball. I think that Rico altogether. I think he had 86 rush yards, but altogether he had close to a 100-yard game. So shout out to him, and he definitely got his groove going in the second quarter and second half. Excuse me. And I think that's when he really gets his groove going. A lot of these running backs kind of get better as they get more snaps, right? So I think that he definitely had a much better second half. Let me see. Let me share this screen with you guys. Let me bring up some of these tweets that I kind of bookmarked, and we'll talk a little bit about those before we get out of here. Yeah, this is one tweet I wanted to bring up about Turpin. Shout out to Kyle Yeomans. He tweeted this out during the game. He said, Kamate Turpin is the fifth player since the NFL merger to have a punt return touchdown, kick return touchdown, and 60-plus yard receiving touchdown in the season. Of course, they have the others listed here: Devin Hester, Dante Hall, Terrence Wilkins, and Billy Johnson. Going all the way back to 77, you know what I'm saying? And obviously the last player, Devin Hester was in 2007. So, I mean, it's shout out to Will McClay, who and the personnel department who's able to find these type of players. But like I was saying earlier, shout out to Mike McCarthy for actually believing in Turpin and giving him a shot. A lot of these guys that we know don't really get a chance to really display what they have, especially on this offense. I mean, as many bumps and bruises as it's had over this season, finally being able to kind of get Turpin in the groove. Like I said, being one of the playmakers. I really think he's shown out, and I think it's showing. Let's see. Yeah, shout out to Brock Hoffman. He definitely showed. I mean, we already know. Like at least for me, one thing I wish he would do is just kind of, it ain't gotta be after every play. You feel me? Like having to talk trash and all that. I love that he does that, but sometimes it seemed to kind of take away from the game a little bit. There was a couple of times where he was like, kind of slow to kind of get to the sideline because he was kind of drawing back and forth with their DT, and it's kind of like I understand, bro. Like you want to show toughness and stuff, and I love how he played. Like you see here, like you using the player's head to kind of get up, but it's like you don't have to do it all the time. I'm saying definitely need that for the playing on the field. Let me see. Let me bring up this article right quick from Todd Archer. This will be the last thing we do. Because he just kind of talks about the last 3 minutes of the game. A lot of people kind of gave their insight, about how they felt. They've never been part of, last 3 minutes like that, in the fourth quarter like that, and things going back and forth. Because it all started. They like to say it started with Washington, going to Zach Ertz for the touchdown, but at least in my opinion, it kind of started with Schoonmaker, right? Like, I really feel like, Schoon. Like I said, I think Schoonmaker had his best game to date, at least this season. His confidence is really growing, really, really coming back to him. Like, those catches he made, even the one for the end zone, he had to kind of go up and grab. You know what I mean? So it's just like I think his confidence is really growing. I think he can really add something to this tight end room. And I don't know about being, and he could be tight end too. I think that would be something that could probably be settled in the off season between the span four between a Schoonmaker. We'll see what happens with Lupke, Hunter Lipke. I don't know if they still how to have him doing tight end training or anything like that. Or if he's going to compete for the tight end job or anything like that. But Jake Ferguson, Schoonmaker, and Span Four, sounds like a pretty solid. And shout out to John Stevens. Like, still, I definitely still miss him as a player. Not really sure how he can come if or how he can come back. Especially having that kind of injury. But man, that really sucks, man. But hopefully he could, possibly find some way to be able to come back, strong, somehow healthy. Because I know it's not easy coming back from injury once, but having to come back after injuring the same, having the same injury back to back, man, it's just like I'm sure that's devastating, as far as confidence wise, but also at the same time, how stable that can be for him. So hopefully maybe he'll have time to kind of rehab and go take a look at him, for next season and maybe just see, just how influential he can be. But yeah, it's like as you guys already know, before I close out here, the last 4 minutes was definitely crazy. I didn't expect because, like I said, from on my side of the field, hey, shout out to Law Nation Sports. What's up, fam? How you doing? Yeah, I definitely enjoyed the win law. Yeah, I was at the game, what I'm saying, and like the crowd was insane. Of course, the Washington fans do not keep the same energy. What I'm saying, at the beginning of the game, they want to give high fives and all that. When they're keeping us off the scoreboard and things like that. They want to get high fives and say, oh, where y'all at? And this, and the third. But so as they start, missing extra points and we start winning things like that, that's when they disappear or they want to leave early. That's when you don't hear from them. So shout out to you being in the building, Law. Appreciate you, really appreciate you. But yeah, that was really a dope win. I'm saying, definitely had a few coworkers I was able to kind of stun on. I'm saying, in the beginning of this week. So that was definitely good to get that one. I'm saying, yeah, definitely was. Yeah, it was a great atmosphere to really be in, honestly. Like, this area, they're really about Washington. It's kind of speaking on that, like this area, it's kind of been like a resurgence. Like, a lot of people have been Washington fans for a long time. You can kind of tell, a lot of them still rock a lot of the Redskins had, and they still have a lot of that memorabilia that they wear, even if they don't wear Commanders things. But you can definitely see that there's a lot of Washington fans in this area who just, and it's understandable. They're just looking for another reason to kind of believe, in their team again. So I understand it, but I can't get behind it. Like I cannot stand, Washington, and I can never, you know, you know, just be like, oh, it's all good, or yeah, we're losing right now, so da, da, da. But it's just like, y'all thought y'all was gonna do something. It was like back to like, I was in some Twitter spaces, back like week 3, week 4, before Commanders had even played like a division. But after that, I think they had played I think the only division rival they had played was the Giants, and they beat them with all field goals. So it's just like you really haven't like really dominated, like really at least. Well, I take that back. I think the Bengals they were to play. They played pretty good against them, but I think the Bengals defense was just kind of down and out at that time. But I think there's one. I think maybe the Cardinals. I think Cardinals. I'll say that they probably dominated as far as like score wise and everything, but they have never really like dominated a team. So it's like I didn't really think that they could really dominate us. But for our defense to be able to come out and have that showing, I loved it. I love that. I think they made a huge difference in that game, and I like that. I love the way the game turned out. Really did. So Yeah, before I close out here, yeah, like I said, make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button too if you're not subscribed yet. Definitely looking forward to this Giants game. Like I said in the beginning of the video, looking forward to see how these guys come out and kind of face the Giants. I know they're kind of down bad right now. I haven't really followed up with the Giants. Actually, I know it said that the DeVito may not even play, but I don't know. Like I don't know what's going on. I think they said Malik Neighbors was complaining about his target, so they might kind of they might amp him up for this for this week. So I mean that's not a surprise. I mean they targeted him a lot. I think the last time we played them, so that won't really be a surprise. And hopefully Diggs will be back for the short week. But if not, I mean, like I said, Butler really had a great game, and that's something we kind of see. I know Marquise Bell's out for the season, but he's been kind of a lot of these guys, even Awesome Richards, Marquise Bell, Wanye Thomas, some of these guys who we really want to see, or guys we really haven't been able to see, have been kind of like, I don't want to say put like on the back burner, but they've been kind of being able to kind of simmer and cook a little bit, on the practice squad, able to kind of get these reps up in practice. So I think it's a really great thing when these guys actually be able to come out and we see them in game time, and takes him a little bit. We saw Cooper. Cooper Rush took him a little bit to kind of get back in game. Game with the in groove with the guys. Wanye, finally getting those defensive snaps out there that we've been wanting to see all season. I'm saying, and also maybe that's kind of creating better competition amongst our safeties, because I don't think it's a coincidence, but the last couple of weeks, we've seen Hooker have a great game against the Texans. We see Donald kind of show flashes again and against in his Washington game. At the line of scrimmage, like I mentioned earlier. Him forcing that fumble, like I love seeing Donald just in his element. And that's really why I kind of felt for him as a player, because it's just like he just shows that aggressiveness. And a lot of people are saying that, and he still may not fit Zimmer's philosophy or scheme or anything like that. But I think that he plays hard, and when he makes those big plays, they're huge. I mean, unfortunately, when he misses those big plays too, it's huge too. But like on the like on the wrong side. But it's good to see him in his element, and I don't think we see 2022 Dono again. But I just love that when he gets that kind of amped up the play, and not, like I said, not just him, but Hooker making plays as well at the line. I like seeing Hooker more in the backfield as well when he makes those tackle for losses. I think it's I think, like I said, I think it builds confidence and, like I said, competition in that safety room. You see TWY. Oh, he says hell yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I know, right? He said, especially since folks really we want Dallas. Yeah, and even actually to your point, TWY, man, like down to like the last like seconds of that game, like they were literally like, "Oh, this is nothing. This is nothing." Like we used to this. We ain't scared. It was like down to like the last 9 seconds, and they still was out there like we still gonna beat y'all. We still gonna score this, that, and the third. Like them Commanders fans, like they really, and I'm happy for them as far as having a team to finally be able to believe in and be able to cheer on a team, especially with the Cowboys kind of being down and out right now. It kind of sucks to have a. I couldn't imagine, and this is no slight, but I couldn't imagine just kind of your team just kind of being down, and it's just like, man, like you just you want something to cheer for, you know what I mean? So it's just like, man, you really hope that like at least, like I said, at least for them, happy for them that they're able to kind of have a team to cheer for and actually be able to, I guess, have some good news to look forward to. And I actually see your question. I'm looking it up right now. Let me see if I can find some. David, he says, is Rush on the injury report with a bad news? Oh, TWY man says no, he just didn't practice. Okay, yeah, because Mike McCarthy said that he doesn't have any concern about it. He said that he thinks like that Cooper's going to be fine, but he said he's just dealing with he's dealing with the thing. He said. So I'm actually on Todd Archer's page now. Let me actually share this with you guys real quick. This will be the last thing. This will be the last thing before we head out of here. Oh, let me. Hold on, my bad. Okay, yeah, okay, here we go. I got the page up. He said them fans are hurting inside though. Yeah, they are. They really are, man. No, I don't feel sorry for them. I'm happy that they have that the team is doing better, that they can compete and feel happy for their team. But yeah, they definitely I ain't never feeling sorry for them, and they can't never beat us. As long as we beat, I ain't gonna say as long as we beat them, I'm good. But like, I mean, I said that before we played them. I said that the Cowboys are always the team that are kind of high up on the pedestal, and then we have kind of the bad team that kind of come in and kind of spoil it for them, right? So like I said, I'm happy that we were kind of able to be that team right now, kind of that quote unquote bad team to kind of come in and kind of spoil, Washington's, a record just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, as you guys can see, I'm here on Todd Archer's page, reporter for ESPN. Make sure you guys follow him because he pretty much always has all the, whether it's news as far as injuries or, he's in there for the press conferences, asking questions, things like that. So make sure you guys give him a follow on Twitter. But he said, Marshawn Nealon, Kendricks working through rehab. No Zach Martin or Awesome Richards. Tyler Smith was practicing. And I mentioned that earlier. Awesome Richards said he has a high ankle sprain. Not sure when he got that. I didn't even know he was hurt until after the game. So that really sucks, because especially for Awesome, because he was, no pun intended, but he was really doing awesome. Like he was doing really great, coming in, stepping in for Tyler Guyton when needed. So hopefully it's not, hopefully it's not too serious. You know what I'm saying? I really hope it's not too serious. Ferguson, we were talking about this earlier. Jake Ferguson working through concussion protocol. Good sign. He's on practice field working to the side, but unclear if he can play Thursday. Yeah, that's about 20. That's about 30 minutes ago. And I think earlier Stephen Jones kind of mentioned that he's probably leaning towards not playing him, and I think Zach Martin as well. Let me see any more tweets. Don't really see. I mean, I see some things. I see some things about the Giants game. DeVito possibly not playing. They're talking about Turpin, like I mentioned earlier. His record returning kickoff returns. They talked a little bit about Mark McCarthy's job. They talked about. Jerry says it's not crazy. That they could possibly bring Mike McCarthy back. And I talked about how I felt about that earlier. I'm not necessarily against it, but I'm not going to sit here and say I'm for it. And actually, it's about 24 hours ago. But just kind of, he said Cooper Rush was limited with a knee injury. McCarthy says he got some work to do, but I think we're going to be fine. So that's as of 24 hours ago. So as far as today, I'm not 100% sure. But hopefully, like McCarthy says, he should be fine. Hopefully he's good. Let's see. TWY, man, you're absolutely right. Yeah, Todd and Jane be on here. Yeah, be on their stuff. Yeah, facts for real. Like those are. I actually have Todd Archer's tweets. What do you call not subscribe? I got the alert on him, so for whenever he tweets out anything, I try to make sure I hop on that because he's definitely one of the first guys. I get the ESPN alerts on my phone as is already, but. I kind of get the alerts for his tweet, and then 10 minutes later I get the one for ESPN. So he definitely puts out a lot of the news and injury reports or any kind of news in general, out on his page first. So definitely, like I said, definitely important to give him a follow. And and shout out to Rico Jones, sliding at the end. You know what I'm saying? What's up, fam? Happy to see you. Yeah, happy about that win as well. I think we'll get another win hopefully on Thursday. And I don't really know. I mean, I don't even talk about the December schedule, not it's a little bit too soon. And actually, I'm really surprised it's December around the corner already. Like I said earlier, like this, this part of the season for me always kind of goes by fast, with, me traveling and, just with work and everything. So for it to be December, like next week is crazy. So the new year, be here in no time. And I'm always excited for the holiday time because I always bring kind of a freshness, like I said, time with family and things like that. But then you have the new year right around the corner. So it's kind of like, a chance to rebuild, kind of, refresh yourself before the new year, kind of like a restart. You know what I mean? So, I'm like I said, as I get older, I kind of get more excited for times like these because I'm definitely starting to be, more appreciative. So, let me go ahead and slide off of here because like I said earlier, I had just gotten home from work. Still got to settle in. And unfortunately, I got to work tomorrow. I got to work my day off tomorrow. So, I don't know if me and Star be doing a show tomorrow evening. We probably lean to not doing one, honestly, because me having to work, I'm not sure what time I'll be home. That's going to be kind of long. So, yeah, we'll probably get back to you guys next week. So make sure, but just in case, make sure you guys keep your notifications on. Maybe I talk to Star about hopping on maybe a little bit earlier and maybe see if she's available. Maybe hopping on for an earlier show if possible. But like I said, it's it's kind of up in the air right now. But make sure you guys keep your notifications on. Really appreciate everybody who came through and rocked with me. Like I said, Rico at the end, TWY man, David, Nisi, Law Nation Sports coming through, showing some love. Really appreciate you, fam. Really do. Always and always. Cali, Cowboy coming through. What's your point? John Jones coming through as well. Jay Money. Really appreciate everybody who tuned in and that's pretty much it, y'all. So I'm hopping off here. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Love you guys. Gonna peace out here.